When Asher Vance confessed to me, his childhood friend, Chloe Sterling, stood right next to him laughing in my face. The limited edition Jordans on his feet cost more than your tuition for a whole semester, Maya, she sneered. You didn't actually believe he was serious, did you? But I did. I fell for his joke. Back then, I was too naive to realize that Asher and I belonged to two completely different worlds. That was until Chloe lost her diamond bracelet. Asher, along with everyone else, directed his cold, mocking gaze at me. His voice dripped with sarcasm. If you were that desperate for cash, Maya, you could have just asked me, why do this? My eyes welled with tears and my hands shook violently inside my jacket sleeves. When I transferred schools, I blocked Asher on Snapchat, Instagram and every other way he could reach me. I vanished without a sound. But I never expected that the arrogant, high and mighty Asher Vance would spend the next 7 years desperately searching for me. After gym class, Chloe, our school's resident it girl, lost her extremely expensive designer bracelet without my knowledge. She led a crowd to tear through my backpack. By the time I walked back into the classroom, my desk was an absolute mess. She was clinging to Asher's arm, whining, Asher, Maya is your girlfriend. Just tell her to give my bracelet back. Asher and Chloe grew up together. Everyone knew she was special to him. Even I had to admit that they shared a world I could never touch. Whenever they chatted about designer brands and luxury trips, I could only stand there completely out of the loop. But this time, Asher didn't immediately back her up. Quietly cleaned up the mess on my desk, then finally looked up at her. What's the big deal about a bracelet? He said casually, though he didn't deny her accusation. I'll just buy you a new one. The classroom instantly erupted into whispers. The rumors started flying, each one uglier than the last. Wait, is it really the student council president? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Everyone knows she's here on financial aid, and she was the only one who went back to the classroom during gym class. Man, if she pawned that bracelet, she wouldn't have to worry about rent for the next 6 months. Hey, I heard her dad got his leg busted years ago because he was caught stealing. No one cared about my explanation. In fact, the more I tried to defend myself, the weirder their looks became. Chloe said, her voice sweet and gentle. It's fine. I have plenty of other bracelets anyway. She generously told everyone it was probably just her own mistake, and that they should drop it. I refused to let this fake generosity drag my name through the dirt. As Chloe turned to leave, I grabbed her wrist. I wanted to take her to the administration office to check the security cameras. Chloe tilted her head, giving me a knowing, amused look. I knew Chloe would resist, but I never expected that the one who would physically stop me was Asher. He gently patted my head. That's enough, Maya. It's over. Whenever I was upset, Asher used to comfort me like this. But hearing those words now only made the lump in my throat grow tighter. I didn't take it. I choked out, looking up at him with tear-filled eyes. My dad came to drop off my lunch. I only ran back to the classroom to put the pizza box away. I didn't touch anything else. I had only gone back to put away the pizza. My dad had made it himself and brought it over. He told me it was my birthday, and that I deserved a good meal. But Asher didn't seem to care about my explanation. He said it didn't matter. He said no matter what I did, he could make it go away. But why didn't it matter? I hadn't done anything. Did Asher seriously not understand how important a person's reputation was? I insisted on checking the cameras. Finally, Asher lost his patience. He let go of my hand and let out a laugh. It was a low chilling sound. My heart sank. I slowly looked up and met his eyes. I saw the smirk on his face. I saw the same unmasked prejudice in his eyes that everyone else had. Drop the act, Maya, he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Did you really not take it? I remember you telling me a few days ago that you were really short on rent. And by the way, the classroom security camera just happened to break yesterday. Are you telling me you didn't know that? My brain went completely blank. For some reason, Chloe's old words flashed in my mind. She had said, you still don't get it, do you? You and Asher belong to different worlds. I hadn't understood it then, but at this moment, I finally did. Asher Vance, the golden boy who grew up pampered by everyone, had classism engraved in his very bones. When push came to shove, he would always believe Chloe, the girl from his own social circle. He knew exactly how important a reputation was. He just never believed me from the start. The school bell rang loudly. It blended with Chloe's quiet giggle in the chaos of students moving. Someone knocked against my desk, just in time to see the pizza box slide off and hit the floor. The slice of pizza fell face down, sliding across the dusty floor, and stopping right at my feet. It was covered in dirt and hair. I stared at it completely speechless. The last string of my sanity snapped. Asher's voice was still buzzing in my ear. If you were short on cash, you could have just asked me why do this. I couldn't take it anymore. I closed my eyes and shoved him away with all my might. When I looked up, the tears were streaming down my face. Yes, Asher. My family is poor, but I am not a thief. The autumn rain was freezing. I sat on the empty bleachers of the football field, holding the dirty pizza box, eating the salvageable pieces in silence. Actually, there wasn't much left. Most of it had been ruined. Asher walked over holding an umbrella. His voice was tight with anger. What the hell are you doing out here in the rain? Drop that food. It's filthy. Maya, did you hear me? It's just a cheap pizza. Is it really worth all this? I'll buy you whatever you want. Asher rarely lost his temper with me. Normally, I would have teased him until he apologized. But right now, I just wanted to eat my lunch in peace. I gripped the box tightly, refusing to share his umbrella. Every time Asher took a step closer, I slid a step away. Are you seriously avoiding me? For a moment, his face went completely blank. After a second of silence, Asher took a step back. He held the umbrella over my head, letting the freezing rain soak his own shoulders as he stared at me. By the time I took my last bite, the downpour was heavy. Asher finally spoke about the bracelet. I'll handle. Don't bother, I interrupted him. I'll handle it. Myself, I said. I'll help you. Asher's tone was filled with frustration. How are you going to handle it with your pathetic allowance? Hearing that, I wanted to laugh, but I couldn't believe. Whatever you want. I carefully closed the empty box, stood up, and walked away. Through the heavy rain, I thought I heard him call my name, but I didn't look back. After that day, Asher stopped coming to school. That was our very last conversation. Chloe dropped the accusation, but the rumors didn't stop. Principal adjusted his glasses and told me sternly that he would look into the matter. When I walked back into the classroom, instinctively clutched their designer bags closer to themselves. I froze at the door. My throat burned. I had studied so hard to get into this elite school, maintaining the top rank in our grade, only to be treated like a common thief. On parent-teacher night, I saw parents pointing at my dad's back near the school gates, snickering. Their whispers drifted over in the cold wind. Hey, is that the Miller girl's dad? I heard his leg got ruined because he got caught stealing. Like father, like daughter. No wonder she stole Chloe Sterling's bracelet. In the freezing wind, I saw my dad's shoulders stiffen. For the first time in my life, I couldn't look my dad in the eye. Whispers are a terrifying thing. Those silent, judging stares felt like 1,000 tiny cuts. It was the most excruciating day of my life. When we got home, my dad sat in the dark, smoking in silence for hours. I cried and hugged him. Dad, I didn't steal anything. I remembered everything you taught me. My dad didn't blame me, nor did he ask for details. He just looked at me after a long silence and asked softly, is it because of me that they blamed you? In the shadows he gave me a weak, heartbreaking smile. I'm sorry, Maya. His voice was hoarse. I'm sorry I made you carry my shame. He finally told me the truth about his past. But the truth was, I had always known I was adopted. I had no money. And you were so sick back then, my dad recalled. His eyes filled with a pain that years couldn't erase. I tried to borrow from everyone, but we were still $1,000 short for your medical bills. I was desperate. But a crime is a crime. Once you cross that line, the shame sticks to your bones forever. You can never wash it off. My dad's voice faded into the night. Finally, he murmured, almost to himself, if a better man had found you back then, would you be living a better life now? Shortly after, my dad's chronic illness flared up badly. Terrified, I took a leave of absence from school. I didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted to stay by his hospital bed. But when I came back from buying lunch one afternoon, I saw Chloe standing outside his ward. I stared defensively at Chloe. What do you want? Chloe smiled warmly. Maya, if you needed money, you should have just said so. You shouldn't delay your dad's treatment. We're classmates after all. Asher and I won't just stand by and do nothing. He slid a debit card toward me. What is this? I know a really great hospital in another state that can treat your dad. I can get him in, but that city is really far from here. It must be so exhausting to travel back and forth. The sterile corridor of the hospital was dead silent. I stared at Chloe for a long time. Suddenly she smiled. Do you know why Asher hasn't been to school lately? He thinks you're embarrassing. He's too proud to be associated with a thief. You know his temper better than I do, right? That's why I'm the only one here today. Chloe's voice was soft, but her words felt like a million needles piercing my heart. The pain came in waves. My eyelashes fluttered. Inside the room, my dad's ragged coughing sounded like a ticking clock counting down his life. At that moment, all my pride vanished. The smoke cleared, and only the life-saving card remained in my hand. I needed that money. I squeezed the card tightly in my palm. Thank you. I'll transfer schools immediately and move with him. I will pay you back every cent. I just need some time. Chloe chuckled mockingly. Who cares? Bye, Maya. I didn't tell anyone about the transfer. On a random Tuesday afternoon, we packed our lives and left the city. After moving to the new hospital, my dad's condition slowly stabilized. Life at the new high school was intense. I ran back and forth between the hospital and our cramped rental apartment. Fortunately, my grades didn't slip. My dad slowly recovered. During college, I juggled multiple part-time jobs and classes, barely having time to breathe. As for the money I owed Chloe, I sent monthly payments to the account number she had left me. It took me until 2 years after graduation to fully pay her back. 7 years passed in the blink of an eye. I never expected to run into Asher Vance again. The reunion caught me completely off guard. It happened at a high-end club where my college friend Lily Carson had dragged me to a party filled with trust fund kids. Almost everyone there was a wealthy heir or heiress. I hadn't wanted to go, but Lily had pleaded with me while fixing her makeup. Come on, Maya. If it weren't for my rich boyfriend, we'd never get into a place like this. Just think of it as a free luxury dinner. Plus, with your looks, you might actually catch a hot millionaire. Just come with me, please. Lily was my college roommate. I had lost touch with most people after graduation, but we remained close. She was dramatic, but she had a good heart. Unable to say no, I agreed. When we stepped into the private suite, the scent of luxury was overwhelming. It really wasn't a place for ordinary people like me, but a free meal was fine, or so I thought, until the door opened and the first person I saw in the crowd was Chloe Sterling. She had changed a lot in 7 years. The childish innocence was gone, replaced by an elegant, sexy charm. I didn't expect to see her here, and she clearly didn't expect to see me either. She was so shocked she knocked over her wine glass. The room was noisy and Lily pushed me inside. Several guys started teasingly asking Lily to introduce me. Chloe stared at me, a slow smirk spreading across her face. Oh, we're old friends. I know her well. The teasing grew louder. An old friend. Well, don't keep us waiting, Chloe, introduce her. Oh, I should definitely introduce her properly. Chloe leaned back in her chair, looking thoughtful. We stared at each other across the crowded room. Then she smiled maliciously. Should I start with the story of how you stole my diamond bracelet, or should I just start with your name? The room went dead silent. The smiles on everyone's faces froze. The looks they gave me instantly turned into suspicion and disgust. The whispers started again. It felt exactly like 7 years ago. Chloe's smirk remained perfectly in place. Lily instantly lost her temper. What the hell are you talking about? Don't make things up. Maya would never do that. Chloe looked at me. Why don't you ask her yourself? Her fingers tapped rhythmically on the table, a nervous tick. My eyes fell on the empty seat next to her, the seat in the very center. It was reserved for the most important guest of the night. Chloe was clearly trying to kick me out. Before that person arrived, I looked at her and smiled. You're nervous. The smile on Chloe's face vanished. Whether it was 7 years ago or now, my answer is the same. I, Maya Miller, have never stolen a thing in my life. And about that bracelet, I stared straight into her eyes. Did you really lose it, Chloe? Chloe's fingers stopped tapping. For the first time since I had walked into the room, she looked genuinely unsettled. Then she laughed. What kind of question is that? I leaned back in my chair. A simple one. Lily looked between us. Maya, what is she talking about? 7 years ago, Chloe accused me of stealing a diamond bracelet from our classroom. She told everyone I had taken it because I needed money. I looked directly at Chloe, but she never showed me the bracelet. A man sitting across from us raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? I mean there was never a bracelet. Chloe's expression hardened. Don't embarrass yourself. Oh, I'm not embarrassed. I smiled. You should be. Before Chloe could answer, the private suite doors opened. A tall man walked in wearing a black suit, followed by 2 executives and an older woman with silver hair. The entire room straightened. Lily whispered, "That's Ethan Vance." My stomach tightened. Asher's older brother. Ethan Vance was the CEO of Vance Holdings and, according to every financial magazine I'd seen over the years, one of the youngest billionaires in the country. He glanced around the room. Then his eyes landed on me. He stopped walking. Maya. I hadn't seen him since high school. Back then, Ethan had been the only Vance who ever treated me like a normal human being. He had once driven me home when it was raining, and my umbrella broke. He had also been the person who quietly gave me the number of a scholarship foundation when he learned I was struggling with tuition. Unlike Asher, Ethan had never once asked me to prove that I deserved kindness. He walked straight toward me. You disappeared. I moved. I know. His expression changed. I tried to find you. Chloe abruptly stood. Ethan, this isn't the time. Ethan looked at her. Why? Chloe opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Ethan's gaze moved around the room. Why is everyone staring at Maya? One of Chloe's friends awkwardly laughed. Chloe was just telling us about the bracelet? Ethan's voice was calm. Too calm. Chloe's face went pale. I noticed. So did everyone else. Ethan pulled out his phone. I've heard that story before. He turned toward me. 7 years ago, my brother called me after the incident. He said there had been an accusation against you. My heart skipped. You knew. I knew about the accusation. Ethan's eyes narrowed. I didn't know what happened afterward. Chloe immediately interrupted. Ethan, Maya admitted. No. Ethan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. She didn't. Chloe froze. Ethan looked at her. You just said she admitted it. I meant, you've told that story differently every time. The room became completely silent. Ethan walked toward the bar and poured himself a drink. At first you told me Maya stole it. He took a sip. Then you said she probably found it and forgot where she put it. Another sip. Then you told me the school handled it privately. His eyes settled on Chloe. And now you're telling a room full of people that she stole it. Chloe's face was beginning to crack. You weren't there. No. Ethan smiled faintly. But I know you. A guy named Marcus Reed, the heir to a major hotel chain, leaned forward. Wait. Are you saying Chloe lied? I'm saying I haven't decided what I'm saying yet. Marcus looked amused. That's somehow worse. Lily grabbed my hand under the table. I squeezed hers. For years, I had imagined meeting Chloe again. I'd imagined screaming. I'd imagined humiliating her. I'd imagined demanding an apology. But sitting there, watching her scramble under questions she couldn't control, I realized something. I didn't need to scream. I had learned something during those 7 years. Evidence was louder than anger. I pulled out my phone. Would you like to know why I asked whether she really lost the bracelet? Chloe stared at me. Because I have something. I opened an old email. 7 years ago, my father was sick. I couldn't afford his treatment, so Chloe gave me a debit card and told me it was from her. Chloe scoffed. Exactly. I helped you. Yes. I looked at her. And I paid you back every cent. Her smile disappeared. That's irrelevant. Maybe. I swiped to another document. But the account number you gave me wasn't Chloe Sterling's. Ethan's eyebrows lifted. It belonged to a company. I turned the screen toward him. A private investigation firm. Chloe stood so abruptly that her chair scraped against the floor. Where did you get that? There it was. The panic. I smiled. That's the question, isn't it? 7 years ago, I had been too young and desperate to investigate where that money came from. But 3 years after graduating, I started rebuilding my life. I had studied accounting, then corporate finance, then forensic auditing. Eventually, I became a financial investigator for a major consulting firm. Numbers had become my language, and people who lied about money eventually left fingerprints. I had never forgotten Chloe, not because I was obsessed with her, because I hated unanswered questions. And the biggest unanswered question of my life was why Chloe had been so eager to get me out of that school. I continued. The account was opened 2 weeks before my father's hospitalization. Chloe's face was drained of color, and every payment I made went through the same intermediary company. Marcus frowned. Why would she use an intermediary? Exactly. I looked at Chloe. Who were you paying? She said nothing. Ethan's expression became serious. Chloe. She finally snapped. Fine. Everyone jumped. I paid for her father's treatment. So what? That's not what I asked. I stood. You didn't answer my question. I walked closer. Who were you paying? Chloe's lips trembled. Then she laughed bitterly. You really think you're clever because you got some fancy degree? No. I smiled. I think I'm clever because I checked the paperwork. I pulled up another file. And because you made one very stupid mistake. I showed the screen to Ethan. The company listed on my repayment records had one major shareholder. A man named Gregory Sterling. Chloe's father. Ethan's expression darkened. The room erupted. Wait. Her father. Why would Gregory Sterling create an account to receive payments from Maya? Chloe's breathing became shallow. Lily stared at me. Maya. I shook my head. I don't know yet. Then the private suite doors opened again. A young woman stepped inside carrying a leather folder. She wore a navy suit, had her hair tied neatly behind her head, and looked completely unimpressed by the wealthy crowd. She walked directly toward me. Sorry I'm late. I smiled. You're right on time, Nora. Nora Bell was my former colleague and one of the best forensic accountants I'd ever met. She placed the folder on the table. I brought everything. Chloe stared at her. Who the hell are you? Nora smiled politely. Someone who spent the last 6 months looking into your family's finances. Chloe's face went white. I opened the folder. Inside were copies of bank transfers, school records, security maintenance logs, and one photograph. I picked up the photograph. This is where the story gets interesting. I placed it on the table. It showed the hallway outside our old classroom. The timestamp was from the afternoon Chloe's bracelet supposedly disappeared. There were 3 people in the hallway. Me, Chloe, and someone else. Asher. Lily covered her mouth. Marcus leaned closer. Wait, Asher was there. According to the school records, he wasn't supposed to be. I looked at Chloe, but the camera caught him. Chloe's hands began shaking. I turned to Ethan. Your brother told everyone the classroom camera was broken. Ethan stared at the photograph. That's what he told me. I nodded, except it wasn't broken. I slid another document across the table. The camera was deliberately disconnected. Ethan's jaw tightened. By whom? Nora answered. The maintenance request was submitted using a student access code. Everyone looked at Chloe. She immediately shook her head. No. Her voice cracked. I didn't do that. I smiled. I didn't say you did. Her eyes widened. Then why are you looking at me? Because you're the one who knows what happened. Chloe stepped backward. For 7 years, she had controlled the story. She had decided I was the poor girl who stole from the rich girl. She had watched me leave town believing she had won. But she had made one mistake. She thought disappearing meant forgetting. I had done neither. I had rebuilt myself. And now I was standing in the same room as her with 7 years of questions, records, witnesses and evidence. Then the doors opened one final time. A man walked in. My heart stopped. Asher. He looked completely different. Older. Sharper. His hair was longer than I remembered, his suit immaculate, but his eyes were exactly the same. The moment he saw me, all the color drained from his face. Maya. Nobody spoke. I looked at him for several seconds. Then I smiled. Hello, Asher. He couldn't move. Chloe immediately rushed toward him. Asher, you need to explain. He pulled his arm away from her. His eyes never left mine. You came back. I tilted my head. No. I picked up the photograph. I didn't come back. I held it out toward him. You just finally caught up with me. Asher stared at the photograph. His face changed. He knew exactly what it was. Chloe grabbed his arm. Asher, don't say anything. He slowly pulled away from her. Maya, 7 years ago, you told me the camera was broken. I was wrong. No. I shook my head. You weren't wrong. I placed another document on the table. You knew. The room erupted. Asher's jaw tightened. I knew Chloe was upset. I didn't know she planned to accuse you. Then why did you tell me to stop asking for the footage? He had no answer. I laughed bitterly. Because you believed her before you ever heard me. Chloe suddenly snapped. Because you were guilty. I turned toward her. Then prove it. She froze. Call the police. Her face went white. Call the school. I stepped closer. Call anyone you want. Because I have nothing to hide. Nora opened her folder. Actually, we already contacted the school. She pulled out a statement from the former security technician. The camera wasn't broken. Someone unplugged it manually. Another document followed. The technician also remembered who asked him where the camera's backup files were. I looked at Chloe. Your father. Chloe's knees nearly buckled. Ethan looked horrified. Chloe, what did your father do? She shook her head frantically. I don't know. Then let's ask him. Ethan immediately called his assistant. Find Gregory Sterling. I want him here tonight. Chloe's composure shattered. No, everyone stared. She covered her mouth. Then she whispered. You don't understand. I smiled. Then explain. Chloe finally broke. The bracelet was never stolen. Silence. She looked at Asher. I lost it at home. I panicked. My father told me to blame Maya because. She swallowed. Because Asher was planning to publicly confess to her. My eyes narrowed. What? Chloe's voice trembled. My father wanted Asher away from you. Your family was considering investing in his company, and he knew your grades were better than mine. He thought if Asher became attached to you, he'd start making decisions based on you instead of our families. Ethan's expression turned murderous. So your father manufactured a theft? Chloe nodded weakly. And you went along with it? I was 16. You were 16, I said. Not brain dead. Chloe flinched. And Asher? Everyone turned toward him. He lowered his head. I found out afterward. My heart hardened. How long afterward? He didn't answer. Asher. 3 months. The room exploded. You knew for 3 months? I laughed. You knew I was innocent and still let me leave? His eyes filled with regret. I tried to find you. But you didn't tell me. I was ashamed. That's convenient. I walked past him. You weren't ashamed enough to tell the truth. He grabbed my wrist. I immediately pulled away. Don't touch me. He released me. For once, Asher didn't argue. I looked at Chloe. You wanted me gone. She nodded through tears. You succeeded. Then I smiled. But you made one mistake. Her eyes lifted. You gave me your family's bank account. Nora placed the final document on the table. And those payments weren't charity. I looked around the room. They were part of an illegal slush fund used by Sterling Enterprises. Ethan's expression changed. So that's why my father couldn't find the money. Nora nodded. Millions were moved through shell companies. Maya's repayment account was one of them. Chloe stared at me in horror. You've been investigating us for 7 years? No. I picked up my purse. I've been living my life. I smiled. You just happened to leave evidence behind. The next morning, the Sterling family's financial scandal exploded across every major news outlet. Gregory Sterling was investigated. Chloe's social circle abandoned her overnight. The school reopened its old investigation and formally cleared my name. And Asher? He lost the family position he'd been preparing to inherit after Ethan refused to protect him from the fallout. But he didn't disappear. 3 weeks later, he showed up outside my office. I stepped outside. He looked exhausted. I don't expect forgiveness. Good. I just wanted to tell you the truth. I already know it. He swallowed. I loved you. I stared at him. Maybe you did. His eyes lifted. But love without trust isn't love I want. I walked past him. Maya. I stopped. He smiled sadly. You really changed. I glanced over my shoulder. No, Asher. I smiled. You just never knew me. Then I walked away. Lily was waiting across the street, holding 2 coffees. She grinned. Please tell me you didn't forgive him. I took the coffee. Absolutely not. Nora climbed into the car behind us. Good. Because your new company just got its biggest contract. I blinked. Already? Lily laughed. Welcome to being rich enough to afford your own ridiculous shoes. I looked down at my sneakers. These are comfortable. Exactly. We burst out laughing. 7 years ago, I had left that city carrying a half-destroyed pizza and a reputation someone else had stolen from me. 7 years later, I returned with my name intact, my career thriving, my father healthy, and an entire future that belonged entirely to me. And Chloe? She spent the rest of her life explaining why the bracelet had never been stolen in the first place.